We'll call this meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, I need a motion to adopt the agenda. Moved by Carabelli, supported by Duge. Comments? Questions? Please vote on your iPad. Where's my thing that shows it?
Oh, started January. He's just on two screens.
It passed? Okay, our little things aren't gonna. Okay, all right. Thank you. Motion to approve the minutes dated April 13th, 2017. Moved by Commissioner Leonetti, supported by, was that Commissioner Brown? Supported by Commissioner Brown. Comments? Please vote on your iPad. Mm-hmm. Okay. Public participation. Does anyone wish to be heard? Does anyone wish to be heard? Seeing none, we'll move on to department recommendation, contract Cass Avenue Bridge joint replacement project. Mr. Santo? Okay. I'll go ahead and take the motion. So it's moved by Brown. Is there support? Support by Duge? Okay. Do you want to go ahead and speak to it?
Good evening, Commissioners. This is a kind of emergency repair project. We had an issue with some expansion joints on the Cass Avenue over North Branch of Clinton River Bridge. And this contract is for the repair of a couple of the expansion joints on either side of the bridge that have failed. We currently have a steel plate over the one side that needs to be addressed immediately. So this is a project to take care of that issue, and then we will look at further down the road. It's a more involved project because there's stuff underlying that needs additional attention, so we'll put together a full program and project for that, but this is to alleviate the issue that we have now of getting that steel plate off the roadway for safety purposes. Basically, the bids came in. The original project engineer's estimate was $212,000 and change. Z Contractors came in at $189,655.64, savings of $23,000 over the original engineer's estimate. So seeking your approval for this contract.
Okay, there's already a motion. Okay. It is working. I just had a request from a speaker that doesn't exist here. So, okay. Commissioner Duge.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Is that this one right here?
No, it's on Cass, just west of Groesbeck. Heading westbound.
Okay. Okay. How old is that
Yeah,
bridge?
west of Moravian. Yeah, west of
Okay, how old is that bridge?
That bridge was, I'd have to check on the exact date of when we constructed that.
Was there any talk about replacing the thing to begin with?
The structure itself is good. It's just some of the pier caps underneath the expansion joints need.
Oh yeah, it's fine other than cars falling through it.
No, there's not an issue other than the expansion joints right now, but there are other issues with the structure itself. It's not
Okay.
immediate, motoring public issue, but there are things that need to be done as a project to improve that bridge structure itself.
All right, that's what I want to know. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Yeah, we have a little technical thing. Why don't you let him know? And okay, so. Oh, you do have a question? Okay, I'm sorry, Commissioner Brown.
Thank you.
Okay. You're going to get asked.
A question, Santo. They did a lot of work on Cass a few years ago. Was this something that they missed or something that they caused? Or what?
But I just want you to.
Is that the same stretch of road that they improved between Groesbeck and Hall Road when they put those roundabouts in and they expanded that bridge, and I'm really not sure what bridge they're talking about. I think the bridge I'm thinking is kind of a newer bridge. It's not that old.
Once again, the bridge is just west of Moravian, between Moravian and what canal that comes in there, tees in there. The stretch that was repaired was farther down to the west. We had a slope failure, a slope issue, where the guardrail and part of the roadway structure was sinking as a result of a failure in the slope that was going down towards the river. That was a project that we did to fix that. I think that was a year or two ago. But this is a different section. This is actual bridge structure. Like I said, it's west of Groesbeck, west of Moravian, where Moravian tees in there by the cemetery, just west of there.
No warranty work on the people who did the work the last time?
This project was final and accepted. I can get the year that the bridge was
I'm
actually
just
constructed.
curious. When you get time, not a priority. Thank you. I trust your judgment. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chairwoman.
Commissioner Leonetti.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good to see you, Bryan. Have we ever done work with Z contractors before? Have we ever had any kind of contracts with them before?
Yes, we have.
Okay.
We've had multiple.
So familiar with them?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Good to see you.
Thank you. You too.
Okay, thank you. I don't have any other commissioners on here. So with that, please vote on your iPads. Okay, we're all set. 12 to 0. Thank you. Okay, the 2017 Annual Action Plan. Joe Cooke, Division Director, Macomb Community Action. And I'm going to seek a motion, and then you could go ahead. Is there a motion? Moved by Duge. Support. Support by Kraft. Okay, thank you.
It's bipartisan even. Nothing.
Is that better? Okay. We're before you today seeking a request for approval of our 2017 action plan as required by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. This is in order to implement our community development programs, including the Community Development Block Grant, the Home Fund, and the Emergency Solutions Grant. I brought with me today Stephanie Burgess, who's the program manager for that program, and she would be happy to answer any specific questions that you may have.
Okay, I don't have any questions on the iPad. Just want to make sure, no questions. All right, please vote on your iPad. Oh, sorry, Commissioner Carabelli.
The action plan that you're putting in, if you received all the funds, you have a plan to spend it. If you don't receive all the funds, you're going to go ahead and curtail back. And if there's funds left over, you're going to put those funds where?
That's in the contingency language that we have. Any funds that we receive in addition would go into the Housing Rehabilitation Program for CDBG. For home, it would be allocated on a percentage basis to all the activities identified in the plan, and the same with the Emergency Solutions Grant. All the activities in the Emergency Solutions Grant would be increased or decreased based on the actual allocations.
To continue then, with that said, are you going to divide this up amongst the communities, or are you going to do these additional funds that may be left over? How do you plan on to divvy that up as far as if it's a home fund? Is it going to go to the city of Mount Clemens? Is it going to go to a program here that you're managing, or is it going to be dispersed amongst the other municipalities?
Okay, for the home program specifically?
Well, any of the programs, that the funds that are above and beyond that you may have left over, how are you going to divide those up equally throughout the county?
In the contingency language for Community Development Block Grant, the CDBG, the community allocations would stay the same. The increase or decrease would affect the Housing Rehabilitation Program, which is available to all 21 communities, the residents of all 21 communities. For the home program, look at those activities. For the home program, the allocations to the county serves the 21 communities. Then Clinton Township gets a portion of they get a percentage as a member of the Macomb Home Consortium. Sterling Heights gets a percentage as a member of the Macomb Home Consortium, and the same with the city of Roseville. The allocations that go to each of those communities would be increased or decreased based on the percentage of the difference that we get from our actual allocations.
Okay, this consortium that you're talking about, that those 3 communities are partners of, why are the other communities not partners of that as well?
They are under the county's program. So Macomb County was getting home funds for years on its own, and then started with the Macomb Home Consortium and added on Roseville, Sterling Heights, and Clinton Township because they weren't able to receive home funds on their own. So they had to join with the county to start the Macomb Home Consortium. So the county's allocation was increased based on their membership in that consortium, and they get a percentage of those funds based on how much the allocation was increased because of their participation, and that is decided by the Department of Housing and Urban Development. We get their percentages each year. Then each of those communities take those funds and allocate it to projects in their community. So you can see in the plan for Clinton Township, they have a project with Habitat for Humanity. It's a youth build. They partner with the schools to do that. And then they put the rest of their funds in housing rehabilitation that is just for Clinton Township. Roseville is the same. They have housing rehabilitation, and Sterling Heights does housing rehabilitation. They also give some money to Choto Operating. That's community housing development organizations that work with us. They're able to get some admin funds. And then the county's program, we do housing rehabilitation that's available to the 21 communities. We administer the program for the 21 communities. And then the acquisition, rehab, resale, whatever's left in there will work with Habitat for Humanity.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Toko.
Thank you. On Objective 1, it's to improve the facilities and infrastructure, and Fraser is listed. Is that the senior center, the recreation center, or is that the senior housing?
That would be the senior center, not the housing.
Okay. And do you have a list of what improvements would be made?
I don't have them with me here, I'm sorry.
Okay. And can you send those to me?
Yes.
And then I had one other question on make available appropriate housing, minor home repair. Is that based on need, or is it, what is that?
Minor home repair, that is a new program that we're starting this year that'll be administered by the county, and communities are able to fund that program so that we can provide up to $500 for minor home repairs for income eligible homeowners, and that would be provided in the form of a grant. So things like minor electrical, plumbing, those type of things, changing out different faucets.
Okay. And so that's income and not age?
Income, yes.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Myjack?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a question here. So these funds, we're talking about 3 programs. That's for 2016 for those, right?
2017.
That's for 2017. Okay, and my question to you is, at the national level, the proposed budget cuts, what are your thoughts on that, and do they affect these programs?
Yeah, it will affect these programs, definitely. I have no idea. It's over the years, I've been doing this for over 10 years, it's up and down. And even last year, there was a threat to cut home up to 93%. We ended up getting that money and more. So I can't tell you right now what is going to happen. I mean, we're all subject to the continuing resolution.
Right, what do you mean over the years it's been up and down? What's
Our funding, and there's been threats to the programs in prior years under different administrations.
Right.
So it's hard to look at proposed budgets right now and say, yes, this is going to be cut that way. We don't know. I absolutely don't know what's going to happen.
Is that difficult for you to administer the thought of, well, these funds might not be there, may or may not be there? What is that like for you as administrators to manage this?
It's extremely difficult.
Very difficult.
Yeah, very difficult, but we have to proceed as business as usual, and there are certain deadlines that we have to meet with this plan. So when this plan was started, it was based off the assumption that we would have the allocations prior to when our plan is due, which is May 15th. That's not obviously going to happen. Even if there's a settlement on the budget tomorrow, it'll take HUD somewhere between 45 and 60 days to give us the actual allocation numbers. At that point, as long as the contingency language holds, I can proceed and just submit the plan. If we're cut so drastically that the contingency language doesn't hold, then I will have to come back.
Okay, thank you for coming here today.
Thank you. Commissioner Brown.
Thank you. Thank you for administering a complex program. It's very complicated, as you mentioned. It's and many rules and regulations and changing numbers all the time. I've been around this program a long time, and there's been a lot of good things that have come as a result of the program. Appreciate that. One of the things on Objective 4 on page 3, talking about, the goal is to provide and expand human services, and they've got various communities listed there. Then they list a variety of things like Care House and Samaritan House and Shelby Lions Club and farmers markets and various things. What I see sometimes in my communities in the northern end of the county is when they got a community development block grant allocation, they can't spend the money because it doesn't meet the appropriate criteria in their own community. Yet they've got this allocation. So what happens is groups from all these other groups, like any other charitable group, comes and say, listen, how about us? Wigs for Kids or whatever it happens to be, Samaritan House, what have you. They're all coming in asking for money. They come in like birds that figure, well, there's excess money laying out there. We're going to come in and take it and allocate allocations for us, which really wasn't designed of the program. The object of the money was to go to the townships or the communities and provide services. And some of this money is going off the various charities, and they're making the decision to give money to these charities rather than into the communities to improve the community. And I think that's where some of the rub is about. How some of this money is being spent, and maybe that money maybe they don't need that much money if they can't spend it in their own communities. Maybe they don't need it at all. And so, do you know what percentage of this money the townships, or I say townships, that's my neck of the woods. I mean, how much money they actually give is gifts? Because really the township says, hey, we're generous. We gave money, this community grant money to all these charities, when in fact the county's the one paying for the administration of the program and gave them the money to give away for us, is basically what's going on. And do you have any idea what that number is? Does it have to meet, maybe there's a certain threshold they have to stay within? I'm not sure.
Right. There's a threshold for the overall grant. For the overall grant, it can't be more than 15% of the overall grant. But because we have money that goes to admin and that goes to rehab, the communities get a little bit more than 15%. They can get up to, I think it was 25%. I'd have to double check. But they were able to give a little bit more to the nonprofits. And the nonprofits do serve a purpose.
Well, I
what they do is
understand
they fund activities that then serve the people in those communities. So we do keep track. When a certain community funds one of the various nonprofits, they have to submit us a bill that they served someone in that community. Up until the last quarter, then they're able to serve anyone in the 21 communities. And we'll let the communities know then that next year you may want to have a little bit more, you may want to have a little more thoughtful allocation because they're not quite serving that many people in your community. It's up to that community, though, because we do give them local control. They're given their numbers, and they decide whether or not they want to fund either the nonprofits, because the same thing that the nonprofits fight for, that 15% overall grant for public services, some of the other communities keep that because then they used that money to fund, say, their senior center coordinator. They're able to do that. There's different public services provided by the community itself. If they don't, then they fund the nonprofits. But then again, the nonprofits serve the people in the community.
It's a lot to track, isn't it, in terms of making sure that they're following the rules and regulations. And you've got a good department. I haven't heard any complaints, but
No.
it's just something I always wonder about when I see them taking bids. And who can we give this money away? Because for a community to give money away to other communities that they don't need themselves is pretty remarkable in this day and age. Thank you very much for your service in your department. You do many good things, and this is only one part of that. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no other commissioners lined up to talk, please vote on your iPad.
Michael, I got logged out, so vote me a yes. Yeah, I can get back in, but I got logged out. Back out again. I'll voice vote it. I got logged out.
Okay. All right, so can we just go ahead and, there's no more. Okay, it passed unanimously. Moving on to the proclamations, can we just take them in their entirety? Yeah. Okay, moved by Carabelli, supported by Duge. Comments? Please vote on your iPad. Okay, the motion passes 12-0. Next item is new business. Does anyone have any new business? Commissioner Duche.
Thank you. Basically a question about Steve Gold. Is he still in town? Did he leave on vacation? So he's still in?
I saw him today, or yesterday.
Okay. Do you know if he's going to be in tomorrow? Okay, fair enough. It is new business, because he's leaving.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what
I can be, coming from my IT professional, yes, I can. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, then, all right. Are we all set, Commissioner Duche?
Yes,
You two, when you're done? Yeah, okay. All right, any other commissioners? All right, Chair Smith.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to speak briefly about what might happen tonight as far as retirees coming to our board meeting regarding the pension court battle that's going on. I found out some things today. I just wanted to kind of let you guys know what's going on. The county at no time was, this is speaking with John Chapka, Mark Delda, and Mark Hackle, at no time was the county ever considering taking away retiree health care. However, in one of the, I guess, counter suits or complaints sent to the Court of Appeals, the county did mention that even though we weren't planning on taking it away, the court can't mandate that we keep health care for people, even though we plan on it and we budgeted for it and we bonded for it. Those words put into that, I think, is what is causing this big misconception that the county is trying to take away retiree health care. That being said, there was, I'm sure most of you received an email about there's a call to have a bunch of retirees come here tonight and, basically let the board have it. I can say that and I imagine most of you had no idea that even that little language was in there. I understand that the fight was about being able to give a different health care that was substantially similar that might cost the county less, and that was the fight. Well, that's really the big part of the fight. However, what's been taken up in the paper and the cause that has caused the charge of the retirees is the thought that we're trying to give away the retiree health care. If there are a number of people that look like they're going to be here tonight, I might preempt them through public participation by just explaining that the board was not aware that wording was in there. I mean, we bonded $250 million for retiree health care. I can't imagine that we would ever allow something like that to happen. It might stem the tide of things. So I just want to let everybody know that if you didn't read your email, that we might be getting a lot of people here after volunteer recognition speaking in public participation. And that's what it's about. I just found out today about that wording, so I couldn't understand for the life of me why that was brought up until today. So if you have any other questions on it afterwards, I'd be happy to tell you or talk to you more about it. And Commissioners, stick around for a few minutes after this meeting so we can kind of do a little dry run of what we're going to do with volunteers before the volunteer meeting. That's it. Thanks.
And, just a real quick question. Most of those retirees left before the change with the charter. Our current form of government, those decisions aren't made at our level, are they?
I don't know that they're made at our level, but how funding for the court battle would, and that's what they're
funding
a lot of
or even funding for retiree health care.
Sure.
Yeah,
so I think that's where we fall into this opposing funding to, take it to the Supreme Court. And I'm not sure about that because I think there's part of this, the real part of this battle is worth fighting because it's about really sustainability of the healthcare system, being able to find the best plan for the lowest price. And the court kind of hamstrung the commission by their ruling. So I'm not sure what we're going to do. I just know that I wanted to at least announce that there would be no way that I personally, and I believe most of the board, would ever be for getting rid of promised retiree health care, especially after bonding that much money to keep it. So. No, there's no vote on it. I'm just telling you that just in case.
there's a bunch of people. I just
No,
wanted
the decision was just made by the Court of Appeals.
Right. Yes. No, they just want to, it's just hot right now, so we may see him, we may not. I don't really know.
Okay, Commissioner Brown.
Thank you for that information. I've heard some feedback on this too, and I really wasn't sure where that was coming from either, so I appreciate that. But it is a fact that we do have the right to do that if we choose to, and though we certainly wouldn't do that, I think it's immoral to do that, and so I would never vote to do that, and I don't think anyone on the board would do it either, but it is certainly our right to do that, and, preempt them, I don't know if they got their heads made up, maybe they're not going to, it's good to let them know, but go ahead.
And that's it, Don. You're right. I think it's a question of law that we probably do have the right, but I'd say morally, we did make the promise, and then but to back that up, we bonded for, that money. So, I mean, obviously, they know where the county, they should know where the county stands on this in general. But you're right. I just don't want to get into a big legal debate. I just kind of wanted to at least throw something out that might kill the fire a little bit.
I think a similar lawsuit came up in St. Clair County some years ago, and that also was law. They were lost in court, and we got precedent on our side on this, but
Right.
But it's nice to tell them that so they maybe feel better.
I just want to let them know where we're coming from.
Thank you.
Okay, any other commissioners? Thank you. We'll move on to public participation. Does anyone wish to be heard?
Hello, Macomb County Board of Commissioners, Finance Committee. My name is Joseph Hunt, 8306 Stanley, homeowner taxpayer in the city of Warren. Primarily, if the retirees are going to be coming this evening, it looks like all of the chairs are reserved for volunteers, so I don't know if you're going to have them stand out in the hallway or whether or not they'll be in the back. One of the reasons that I came here today was related to the Macomb Community Action Plan, which is the CDBG Home and HOPWA funds, or at least in this case, CDBG and Home. As you may or may not be aware of, that Macomb County is a grantee of the Housing and Urban Development Community Development Block Grant Funds, and so is the City of Warren. As someone who has gone to every one of the CDBG meetings of the last 6 years and spoken about the allocations by the federal government for community block grants, this is just weird. The community development block grants basically that are allocated to the city of Warren are basically misspent. A lot of the issues that Commissioner Smith just spoke about with the retiree health care was a result of Governor Snyder's implementing the economic vitality incentive program, the EVIP program, where it's a three-step component for revenue sharing. And ultimately, the last thing that everybody came up with was the calculation of the legacy cost. And I think that this is the issue. What I'm getting at here is that now that the people that are responsible for administering the program have left, perhaps they can watch the replay. But I would suggest that basically because the community development block grant programs for the county of Macomb and the city of Warren are the only programs in the county that basically someone in the planning department get together with the city of Warren and perhaps look at getting those programs together. In the city of Warren, every year, the county of Macomb would come to the city of Warren and basically say, we need you to pay us $100,000 for county health inspectors. And the question was, doesn't that come out of our taxes to begin with? The issue does come down to the city of Warren's agency that does the CDBG planning, is the planning department, and ultimately they're still using the year 2000 census numbers, which is not really allocating the right amount of money towards the city of Warren grantee. I feel that if you were to all of a sudden do a joint venture, which was part of the EVIP program to begin with, before that all went away, it would be beneficial for both the county of Macomb and the city of Warren. This is just my opinion, but I feel that when the county comes to, like, for instance, I was at a meeting several weeks ago, and there were 14 different nonprofit charitable groups that were asking for money from the city of Warren. I see here on this list, where I'm squinting, I don't know how you can read it, but it's very small. But we had Care House, Interfaith Volunteer Caregivers, MCRES, Macomb Literacy Partners, St. Vincent de Paul, Turning Point, and Wigs for Kids, all asking the city of Warren for their share of the city of Warren CDBG money, and at the same time they come to the county of Macomb. I see this as a duplication of effort, and especially in the city of Warren, where they're using the home funds to basically build a $100,000 house that they'll sell for $60,000 on the market. I feel that with the way that the county of Macomb is progressing into the future, and the city of Warren is somewhat stagnant in its forward motion using the 2000 census numbers, that perhaps one or more of the legislators of the county of Macomb may get with the city of Warren and your planning department to combine these, combine everything into one group CDBG home and HOPWA. That way the decisions are made at the county through the legislators, because in the city of Warren, the money going to playground equipment and fixing a road, and then, of course, there was money that was being allocated towards property maintenance inspectors. That really doesn't service the public. I think that the county of Macomb should take it all over and would do a much better job than the city of Warren allocating those funds to the groups that need it. I'll leave it at that for now.
Thank you. Okay, with that, motion to adjourn by Duge, support by Commissioner Gillette. Please vote on your iPad. It's for the minutes. Okay. And we are adjourned.
Except sooner or later on.
Huh?
Patty's on her way.
Wow. Is she coming up here?
Yeah, she's on her way.
Okay, if everybody would kind of hang out for just a second, Patty's going to kind of run everybody through this before we head down. Doesn't apply to you, my Jacob.
Okay.